Hey guys, this is Josh C Boxing. I hope you guys are all doing well. Please like, share and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. So let's talk about it, what happened this weekend, most notably Chisora versus Wallin. And first and foremost, Chisora proved me wrong. Chisora won convincingly against Otto Wallin. At the same time, I thought Wallin, and I say this respectfully, was terrible. I thought he was very bad this weekend. But we'll get into the X's and the O's of the fight a bit later. Now, as I said to you before, this was Derek Chisora's penultimate fight number 49, and it was his last fight in the UK. And it was great to see the crowd turn up for Derek Chisora in such numbers. And he put on a good show. He put on a really good show. And I have to say, for his age as well, 41, he done well. He done really well in that sense. And he done everything that he had to do. So let's review the fight. Let's start from the early rounds. I think with Chisora, we know what to expect. We know he's going to come forward. He's going to be like, he's going to swarm forward. He's going to maraud forward. And then when he catches you and pins you to the ropes, he's going to let combinations go. On the flip side, we kind of know what Otto Wallin's going to do as well, right? And I said this in a previous video. He's going to box and move. He's going to jab you, maybe put a couple of combinations together and move. It's going to be very much a safety first approach in that sense. And boy, was I right about Chisora. Chisora from the first round, he literally went at Wallin. He went at Wallin. He pinned him in corners, through combinations, and he was really confident. And we got to about round 4 now, and I was thinking to myself, what's Wallin doing? Is he kind of just trying to gas out Chisora, maybe take a few shots and stuff like that, gas out Chisora, and after he's going to come forward with his own work in that sense? Now, as the rounds were going on, Chisora was just winning those rounds, round after round after round. And you could see that, like, Chisora, he had desire, he had doggedness, he wanted to win that fight. And on the flip side, it couldn't be any different with Otto Wallin. No desire. There was no doggedness. There was no kind of like that want to win, if you see what I mean. He was landing shots on Chisora, and it was visible in his face at the end of the fight. But there wasn't that real kind of, I want to win. You know what I mean? I'm gonna, I'm losing this fight, and I need to do something different. I need to get back into this fight, and I didn't see any of it from Otto Wallin. Let me know if you saw something any different. But for me, I didn't see anything different. We get to the end of round 5 now. This part was interesting. So the commentator said Chisora's got cut. And I think it was above his right eye, if I'm not mistaken. And then the camera panned onto it, and blood was just gushing down his face. And I thought to myself, okay. If they don't call this off, we've seen in previous fights with other fighters, fighters start to become lightheaded at times. And then the opposing fighter is able to kind of control the fight. And I thought, maybe, is that something that's going to happen? Is that going to be the trajectory of this fight? And I thought, do you know what? If Otto Wallin's seeing this, and if I'm seeing it, Otto Wallin's seeing it, maybe it's one of those things where Otto Wallin might start building in confidence, and then as the fight progresses, he's able to control the fight in the way he wants the fight to be, right? Again, even if he's adopting a safety first approach, kind of jab and move around the ring, make it difficult for Chisora because there's blood gushing down his face. I was wrong. I was totally wrong. Chisora came even more confident. He just literally controlled the pace, dictated the speed, dictated everything that was happening in the ring. And honestly, I didn't see anything from Otto Wallin that made me think, okay, I can see the tide turning a little bit here. I didn't see anything at all. Chisora just literally done everything that he had to do. And kudos to him, man. He done well. He done really well. And I think it kind of paid off in the 9th round. So we get to round 9. And Chisora catches Otto Wallin. It was like it wasn't like a full clean shot to the face or to the side of the face, but he catches him, and I think he might have hit his temple. And Chisora kind of falls back and he's knocked down, and the referee counts to 10. He gets up, and that's the first knockdown. And then round 10 and 11 happen, and round 12 then comes, and then just before the end of the bell, Chisora knocks him down again. And again, he stands up. And if I'm not mistaken, that's the first time, as far as I know, Otto Wallin's ever been knocked down in his career. Bear in mind, he wasn't knocked down against AJ. That was a stoppage from the ref. He wasn't knocked down against Fury. But Chisora knocked him down twice, which was fascinating. Which was fascinating. Now, if you believe what Usyk says that Chisora is probably the hardest puncher he's faced in the heavyweight division, and it can be that case. It can really be that case if you catch someone in the right place at the right time. Lights out, or it could be a knockdown in that sense. And I think that's what happened against Wallin. He just caught him in the right place at the right time, and it was two deserved knockdowns in that sense, for the work that Chisora had put in. So the question is, what's Chisora going to do next? What's Wallin going to do next? Now let's look at Chisora first of all. Chisora at the end of the fight done a little bit of a speech, and he brought in 3 rappers, Skepta, Lethal Bizzle, and Tiny as well. 3 London rappers. One of them grime artists in that sense, and he gave them pictures, and the 3 pictures were Usyk, AJ, and Dubois, and he asked the crowd, make noise based on who you think he should face next, and the one with the loudest noise was the one that he was going to choose. So the one that was the loudest, which was interesting, was AJ. And I found it interesting that he put AJ into the mix as a potential option. And the reason why I found it interesting is that as far as I know, they're boys. Like, they're close. Like, they wouldn't face each other. But Chisora did say, I want to say it was after the fight, after this all happened, he said he was going to give AJ a call and see, are you down for it? Is it a fight that you wanna have? In that sense, but I can't see that happening. He then spoke. Usyk was mentioned as well, and again, I can't imagine it being Usyk. I don't think Usyk would like to have that fight. I don't see the point in Usyk even having that fight. Yes, don't get me wrong. Chisora will see it from a standpoint that I had a good kind of first half of that fight when we fought during COVID, but I don't see any rationale in Chisora facing Usyk. Like, I don't know who would want to watch it. Personally, I wouldn't want to watch it. Let me know if you would want to watch it. But I just can't see any fascination in that. So I don't see Usyk. I don't see AJ. The last one's Dubois. Dubois, personally, he's got mandatories to deal with. If you remember, Bakoli vs F.A. Ajagba is to become mandatory. The winner of that becomes mandatory to face Dubois. Now, I can't see how Chisora is going to jump the queue to go and face Dubois. To go and face Dubois anytime soon. So I don't see that fight happening as well. So those are the 3 fights he mentioned. Personally, I don't see any of them happening. The question is, who do I see him fighting next, his final fight? I was on social media, and Base the Kid made a really, really good call on this one. He mentioned Kubrat Pulev. And he mentioned the reason why Kubrat Pulev is because Pulev is the WBA regular heavyweight champion. He's not the super heavyweight champion, but regular heavyweight champion. Now, if Chisora's ambition is to end his career and potentially become world champion, then who better and who more realistic potentially to beat than Pulev? He's beaten him before. And it's a fight that can happen again, and I think he could beat him again. I think he could beat him more convincingly, to be fair. I think he could beat him again. So that would kind of cap his legacy as a regular world champion in that sense. And I think it will kind of tailor off quite nicely, actually, to be fair, because if you look at Chisora's career, he's won every single trinket apart from being world heavyweight champion. So he's won English, he's won Commonwealth, he's won Europeans, but he's not won a world title. And facing Pulev would give him the opportunity to do so. So that's one option. Maybe the con on that is that it might not be a big money fight. So if we're talking about big money fights, who's he face? I think Ngannou could be an option. Genuinely think Ngannou. 2 reasons. As I said, big money fight. And secondly, Chisora's always spoken about finishing his career in Africa. And Ngannou vs Chisora in Africa, or Chisora vs Ngannou on a Ria season card later on this year. I believe AJ is going to face Martin Bakoli, headline act. But I do see potentially us seeing Chisora and Ngannou fighting in Africa. That will give him exactly what he wants, right? It gives him the opportunity to finish off his career in Africa. And it also gives him the opportunity of earning big money. It's a real season card. So it ticks 2 boxes there. And I can see that happening. The last option, Dillian Whyte. This fight's been talked about for a little while. I think Dillian Whyte also even put out a tweet this weekend to say, all the best, I hope you win. And if you do win, I want to face you next. So that's a fight both men will be up for. They've spoken about it a number of times. And that would be a trilogy. I think at this stage, I think Chisora could beat Dillian Whyte. You know, I really, really do. Now, my opinion might change once Dillian Whyte faces Joe Joyce. If you don't know, that fight was announced today. That's going to be happening in Manchester later on this year. But I actually think right now, looking at Chisora's performance this weekend, I think he could actually potentially beat Dillian Whyte. I really do think he can. So that's what I think in terms of those three, in terms of the 3 options, in that sense. Now, if I had to kind of rank them, I would say, this is difficult. I would say either Ngannou, Pulev, Whyte, or Pulev, Ngannou, Whyte, depending on what Chisora wants from this. If he wants a world title, or if he wants a bag of money. I think Pulev and Ngannou, for either option, offers that to him. That's Chisora. The question is, what does Otto Wallin do next? And I had to give a really long, hard think about this. And I say this respectfully because I don't like to criticise fighters too tough. So I'm going to be respectful in the way I say this. I think the first thing Otto Wallin has to do, I think he needs to take a long look in the mirror. And ask himself whether he has the desire to continue. He is 34. Does he want to continue boxing? Now, the reason why I say that is because every time he's gone to the top table, and when I say top table, I mean like the elite fighters, the AJs of this world, the Furies of this world, he's shown no desire. He's shown none at all. Yes, he fought Fury, and Fury got a cut, and I'm going to touch on that in a moment. But in terms of like that real desire and doggedness, I don't think I've seen that from Wallin every time he's stepped up. So I think he needs to question that. The second thing I think he needs to do, I think he might need to take a look at his team. I think he needs to reflect on whether he might need a bit of a change. Now, we've seen fighters in the past change trainers, and it has brought a positive effect. And it might just be that thing, right? He goes to a different trainer. The trainer has a different outlook on things. And maybe his style might tweak ever so slightly. Maybe he might see things differently. Maybe he might have a little bit more of a desire with a new trainer. That might be an option. It genuinely might be an option. But I think going back to step 1, he needs to have a look at himself and ask himself, does he still have the desire for this? And if he does, maybe it's just going with a new team and thinking seeing how things work out in that sense. The last thing I'll say is maybe it's a case that Wallin was never the level of fighter that we thought he was. It could be that. Now, I say this because, so Wallin comes into the picture when he faces Fury. He gives Fury a cut. He fights Fury. Fury gets a cut to his right eye. And ever since then, every time we talk about Otto Wallin, that's what we talk about. That was X amount of years ago. What have you done between that time that we can also talk about? The performances that you've given, yes, you've won most of those fights, but they haven't been like fights where we think to ourselves, okay, right, do you know what? He's setting things on fire in its sense. He's knocking guys out. He's doing this, he's doing that for us to talk about. I think his career's been a little bit stale. I don't think full advantage in that sense has been taken from Otto Wallin, especially when he comes to the top table. Now, it doesn't mean that he wins those fights. Like against AJ, it doesn't mean that he's going to beat AJ. But I mean, show a little bit more. Show a little bit more desire. Show a bit more willingness to kind of try and go toe to toe. If something's not working, change it. Do you see what I mean? Like, if you're getting pinned and you're getting outboxed, change something. At least try and do something. And there was nothing worse than seeing him literally just doing nothing or doing the bare minimum against Chisora. And again, I say that respectfully when I say bare minimum, because I don't think he done enough. I know he was at IFL and he said he tried. I don't think he tried enough. I don't think he tried enough. And again, who am I to speak about it? But from what I saw from the eye test, I don't think you've done enough in that sense. So maybe Otto Wallin is just not on that level. Maybe he's not on the level that I thought he was, that I perceived him to be. Maybe he's on the level just below that. Fighting anyone from the top 15 just might not be who he should be fighting. Maybe fighters in the top 20. Maybe that's where his level is. I don't know. I really don't know. It's a bit of a strange one with Otto Wallin. I do want him to do well, but he just has to come back differently. He has to show a little bit more heart, a little bit more desire in that sense. So that's my thoughts on all of it. Let me know what your thoughts are. What did you think of Chisora's performance this weekend? Did you like it? Was there anything missing that you thought? What did you think about Otto Wallin as well? Were you guys similar to me in terms of what you thought about Otto Wallin, in terms of that lack of desire and that lack of heart? Let me know your thoughts. And also let me know what you think about Chisora's next steps. He mentioned Usyk, he mentioned Dubois, AJ. Are those fights that you think he should take next? Or do you think he kind of should look at the options that I gave, Pulev and Garnier and White? Do you think those are options that he should take instead? Or do you have any other options potentially that he could take? Let me know your thoughts. And as I said before, please like, share and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until next time, guys, peace.